Okay, so time to react to another Star Citizen video. This is from Buzzcut Psycho. I guess the name fits. Master Mode Salt. Stop crying, sick nerds, says this psycho guy. I think I saw a video from him trying to make a way of getting master modes to work. So he actually had a couple of tips that were useful. I mean, still shit. Master modes is objectively a horrible choice, making the game slower, more cumbersome, and just it's a bad way of playing something that was a lot more fluid, dynamic, realistic in terms of how things actually move when you're going fast. That's the fun part. Going slow is not fun. You know, that's one of the basic things of video games. But the guy is kind of like shilling very hard, and he saw this one and he thought, hey, we might as well react to it. And I like how all the keywords, this master mode salt, stop crying. No, what was the guy that the other one, the fucking loser that said normies, go away normies. Oh, these people. Usually one of my little experiments is asking, when people use these words like crying, usually it's not people that have had a lot of experience with real crying, like babies and such. Usually it's either like someone that has no kids. Like 80% of people that I ask, like in global chat, I try to play friendly. Oh, cool, yeah. So you have kids? And usually it's like 80% of people, and I've done this, I want to say 100 times, but it may be a little bit less. But it's not going to be a whole lot less. Let's say out of 80 times that I asked, if someone that starts with crying, stop whining, stop crying, it's something weird, because for those of us that actually heard quite a bit of crying and whining from actual real babies, you don't use that as an insult. It's like, yeah, shit, what, baby needs what, a new diaper, food, something like that. It's not something you associate with complaining about a game that is kind of messed up or something that you don't like. But anyway, it's either that or someone that's never been a parent, hasn't got a kid, or maybe someone that should not have a kid, most definitely so. I don't know which one is here with Buzzcut Psycho, but hey, when you describe yourself as a psycho, I guess that says a lot, right? Let's get to this.
There doesn't really seem to be a day that goes by where there is not a thread on Spectrum about master modes. Somebody complaining about it, somebody not liking it, saying it's killed the...
Why the fuck do you think that is, Buzzcut Psycho? Why the fuck is it that you think that every fucking day you have like 50% of people saying this sucks? Every day you have 50 to 70% of the comments are usually something that's really linked in one way to another to master modes, because master mode sucks. No one can argue against that. You used to have a system by which you flew around with total freedom. Yeah, you flew around as fast as you could or you wanted, crashed against crab, crashed against your enemies. You could be jousting, or once you got a little bit better, you could just get perfectly behind your enemy and fly very close at any speed that you wanted, disengage, engage back again, and so on. Why do you think it is that people are complaining? It's everyone stupid, and you, Buzzcut Psycho, you're a genius and figure out how awesome this is while everyone else doesn't?
Game. Completely insane arguments. And I've started to think to myself...
Completely insane arguments when everyone agrees that it sucks, that Master Mode is shit, and it just makes the game worse. I mean, it's not only just everyone, people that have been like very serious into it, like the Avenger 1 guy. I know that lots of people are fanboying on a guy that plays a video game. I don't quite understand that, but hell, he basically made like a business or something about... he's super involved with the combat stuff, and of course he hates it. It's a disaster. And of course there's going to be people that try to share a little bit more because of, you know, maybe business relationships or maybe links to the company that they don't want to lose by being too critical. All of that crap goes on. But the idea that everyone is wrong because they hate this crap and I'm right because, no, I actually think it's pretty cool.
You know, I want to do a video about this. I haven't done one in a while. So I've been kind of torturing myself and very attentively reading these and trying to compile, maybe make sense of the arguments and the complaints and decipher through the stupidity to kind of see what they're saying and what the complaints are. I think I've got a lot of it. I think I've nailed it here. So let's begin. The first and most common complaint that I see is speed. People talk about the speed, the FCM speed cap, and that it's not as good as it was before and all this stuff. Well, the speed that we had before which was uncapped. You can still get that speed, just gotta go into nav mode, right? But that speed was not conducive to having a good dog.
But, motherfucker, if I'm driving my car, I don't have to change modes so as to go faster. I don't lose the skin and the structure of my vehicle just because I'm going a little bit faster. And you know what? If I want to pull a gun out of my window and shoot at full speed, I can actually do that in the real world. You're telling me that I cannot do that in a spaceship in the future? Are you insane? Are you really a psychopath? Maybe that is it. Maybe the guy really is a psychopath and he's gaslighting everyone, which would be super interesting.
Dogfight. It wasn't conducive to having a good team fight. Maybe if you were a really good player, you could have a 1v1 if the other party consented to it and agreed to fight you.
Oh, so you can have it. I mean, the Avenger 1 guy obviously did. I mean, I'm not Avenger 1 and I had my fun, a lot of it. Usually not doing much PvP, but hey, eventually, you know what? I got killed all the damn time at first. And eventually, once you get a little bit better, you start winning a few. And then you start winning a few more. And again, even though I was not actively looking for that part of Star Citizen was perfect, because eventually, when enough time had passed, when you really had that veteran skill acquired through a lot of suffering, that was super rewarding. Eventually, you were just flying around, minding your own business, someone wanted to PvP you, and then you killed them with, you know, your C2, or whatever crap it is, or your Aurora, right? And they were like, damn, yes, because you got better and you knew how to use your ship and you could go at full speed and you could move around and maneuver. You could do all of these things that he's implying a little bit, but he's just dropping it as if it's not a big deal when it is the main big deal. You could do all of that. Now, no.
Without flying away. But really with that old speed, nothing got done. And the focus of this argument, the reason why this is happening, they perceive that something has been taken away from them. And players don't often like that.
It's not that they perceived. It's not a false sense of something. It actually happened. You had what you could do before taking away from you. You cannot fly at those speeds anymore while having shields and having guns and engaging in combat, basically fighting at those speeds. And yes, you can accelerate. It is like flying in butter. It feels slow and cumbersome as hell, and it is not nearly as enjoyable. No one can argue against that, no matter what kind of perspective you want to take on this.
Even if it's for the betterment of the game, even if it's for the betterment of the player themselves, when they have something taken away, there is this very childish response to lash out without really understanding what was taken away or why. And this reminds me of, and I hate talking about it, but it reminds me of World of Warcraft, when you had flying mounts. Flying mounts broke the overworld. Flying mounts, to a great degree, killed a lot of what made that...
Is he comparing World of Warcraft to Star Citizen? He's actually fucking crazy.
That game special. But people liked it because it was convenient. It let them get around and do things very quickly. And I think a big part of that also translates to master modes.
Completely unrelated, but he's right about that at least. Yes, of course, if you have a magic mountain and you can fly around instantly and be everywhere in a game that you're supposed to go walking from one place to the other, it gets to the point where, yes, I see how that can be game breaking, because there's no point in you doing anything if you can just pretty much like magically appear. It would be like having the option of teleporting, right? It's not quite that, right? So having something that you intrude, and you're talking about an actual real MMO, which this is not. They insist all the time that it's alpha, currently in development, always changing, nothing is real, everything is a placeholder, and that crap. Of course, that changes when, as someone in an email pointed out to me, that, yeah, when they go and have to answer in front of a judge, which they apparently have to do it quite a bit, now all of a sudden it's a finished product, this is an online service, this is what it is, this is a complete game, and this is basically the online service that we're offering. The excuse changes quite a bit there.
Like, oh, well, I can't fly around at 1.5, ms anymore and zoom around and get my stuff done. They can. They just have to go in the nav mode. But
it's a space game. It's not World of Warcraft. You're not flying a unicorn. You're flying a spaceship. It's supposed to be fast. It's supposed to be difficult to learn how to not joust all the time and fly past. It happened to me a heck of a lot until you get the hang of it, of course. But that's the way it is. Like every other thing. Isn't this supposed to be a realistic game? Isn't this supposed to be as realistic as it? I mean, let's talk later about the inventory system. And that's going to be a shit show on its own. But isn't that the way it was supposed to be? Realistic?
They can't dogfight at that speed. And
yes, you can.
And this is, I think, where the big hangup is coming from these people, is they don't want to use the nav mode switch. But going on to nav mode, they don't like the shields going away. And this is, in my opinion, a very psychological thing for people, because this game right now is based entirely around your shields. As a matter of fact, everything is heavily skewed towards your shields. When your shields go down, you don't live very long. It doesn't matter how big your ship is. This is not a master modes issue.
He's contradicting himself. He is actually fucking crazy. He contradicts himself in every sentence. He says that it's not a big deal, and then that it is a big deal, and then that you don't live long. And yes, I mean, you bring down your shield and you get shot down instantly. Yeah, that's kind of what happens. You're surprised that people don't like to get killed instantly and having to navigate through a number of bullshit modes. People are angry because they have to change modes. Yeah, motherfucker, of course. What if you give me 100 different modes? People are angry because they have to go through 50 modes or 100 modes. Yes, of course. Who the fuck likes that? That is not realistic. That's not the way any vehicle works, and certainly not the way a spaceship would work in the future. That's why it's unnatural. That's why it's anti-intuitive. That's why people don't like it. They don't like doing this. No. Whoopee. Yeah, you realize that people don't like boring crap and having to click on keys for no reason other than, and besides, not just no reason, you have to click, if not, you get blown up instantly in a spaceship. Makes no sense.
This is an issue with the game leaning too heavily on shields and not having armor, not having HP mean anything, and having the end state of a ship basically being exploding. So until we get more systems, I can definitely understand why people don't like that feeling of being vulnerable when they're in nav mode. But you have to understand the idea behind going into nav mode was to get players to commit to something and to make a choice. And I think Master Modes has failed at that. If you go into AC and you get into a dogfight there, and
again, contradicting himself, so he likes sucking those nuts and chilling, and then he says, yeah, I kind of understand why people are pissed. Which one is it?
A team fight, you will notice that everybody just think things are going bad, right? They pop noise, they enter nav, and they fly away. So the fight commitment part's just not happening. Even in the PU, I have never felt committed to a fight. I've never felt like I couldn't just leave anywhere. And the nav mode change was designed to try and counter that, and it simply hasn't. So when I see these complaints and I go, oh, well, I'm not flying fast enough. Well, you can fly fast enough if you go into nav mode, so you can get your chores done by going into nav mode. Followed up by, oh, well, if I go into nav mode, my shields are gone and I'm vulnerable. Well, you got to make a choice. Do you want to fly away and avoid the fight? Or do you want to commit with your shields, enter SCM speed, and have a battle?
Wow, he's also retarded. Look, it's about you not wanting to engage in a fight and you wanting to leave. Like I did, for example, I was buying RMC, the crap in rappel, and someone tried to, shoot me down in the middle of it. I had to bring down my shields, get shot up to pieces, and barely leave. So it's not about, oh, you're committing. No, I don't want to fight because I'm carrying a bunch of cargo that's very valuable and I want to leave. And why the fuck is it I have to drop my shields when I'm trying to leave? The only thing that I will achieve in that specific sort of case is, yeah, you get shot up. It is also true that, especially when it's PvE, and when you're not in atmosphere, that, yeah, when you're not in atmosphere, it's usually quite easy to just turn off your shields and leave. It's so fucking stupid, and with all due respect to Mr. Buzz Cut Psycho, the only thing you achieve is you still leave, and you leave with a ship that is all shot up and fucked up. You still manage to leave, but you now have a ship that you have to claim again. You have to repair again. You know what's fucked up about all of this? I think that they actually knew that this is how it would turn out. I think they knew it would just turn out into more time sink. More time sink. That's basically what they knew. The time to kill was increased. You're fighting slower. You cannot go and quickly go and shoot someone down and leave and find something else. You combine that with a way in which they nerf the rewards, how much you're getting paid for a mission. You combine that with a price hike of all ships, and it all makes perfect fucking sense. It's all about making everything slower, all about making everything like swimming in butter, in melted ice cream. That's the idea, right? It's not about having fun. No one in his right mind, other than Buzzcut Psycho, can argue that this is more fun. Anything that is slower is less fun. I mean, this is just this far from becoming turn-based. Oh, you will have to think. Oh, people are pissed. They're just stupid. Now you have to think more before you make the decision. No, we want to play something that's realistic. That's why we sign up to this, not this crap.
That's the whole purpose here. I don't see that going away. If you put the shields back to nav mode, I don't personally care. And the reason why I don't care is because, like I said before, it doesn't really stop anything. They're gone anyway. So this is a struggle that CIG is going to have to balance. This is something.
This actually is something that many people in Spectrum have pointed out. It really benefits the. It's not even the pirate. It benefits the griefer, which is insane. It benefits the one that just wants to have fun by pissing other people off. I cannot steal anything from you, which, yeah, you can play the psychopath. That's a legit role play if you want to play that. But encouraging everyone to behave like a psychopath in a video game, it's not really cool. I mean, it's not the kind of thing that most people that are not insane will actually enjoy playing.
They're going to have to figure out. Because the current system, it's not really preventing what it wanted to prevent, and it's also annoying people. And
again, the guy's a fucking pancake. So he understands that's annoying people and not doing what it's supposed to do, and then he mocks people and salt farms people complaining about something. He is, in fact, a fucking psychopath.
That annoyance is, again, purely psychological. And that psychological annoyance comes from the fact that your armor and your HP, they're non-existent. They don't mean anything. And that's especially hurtful for bigger ships, which are very easy to hit. And you would think they'd have a lot of HP and would be very durable. You would be surprised, or maybe not, how quickly a C2 can die to a single Hornet with cannons when its shields are gone.
Yeah,
another one of the complaints I see is that Master Modes has somehow invalidated a lot of the other ships in the game. I don't see this one, but I hear it a lot. And a lot of times they point to the Hornet Mark II, which...
No, I don't know, maybe he does a lot of PvP and he doesn't do much PvE. What it invalidates is, especially with the new system, and there's something fishy going on there in terms of how much time it takes to bring down the shields of... When you're PvE, when you're against the AI, they have fucking ships that are different from ours. You can shoot that shit all day long. The time to kill was increased by screwing around there with the capabilities of the ships of the NPCs, right? You shoot those things and maybe it's laggy servers, but hell, it's happened enough that I'm quite suspicious about what's the shield pool for these guys? How much is their HP, hull HP? That's not the same as mine. That is super suspicious, and it is tremendously unfair because you're going against something that is not like your own. It's not, a situation in which, and this basically pulls you to do what many of us are doing, which is I'm flying a fucking Corsair with cannons, shooting the crap out of everything with ballistics, and reloading. And this brings us back to now you have to reload, or more often than not, for people these days playing Star Citizen, which is very short sessions of, I just reclaim the ship again, log out, log back in. This is really ruining the game. And we're still here, we're still playing, we're still doing our part, and even promoting the game, like in my channel, but they're doing something that is very negative to the end of the game. And I don't know how far they can pull this. The greed aspect of choking the golden egg goose to death, and then you don't have any golden. Maybe they sell the dead goose for the meat.
Is overpowered. Even after the nerf, it's still overpowered. It's the best single seat fighter in the game. But a lot of this is, again, this is a balance issue. This is not a master modes issue. And it just so happens that master modes came out with really bad balance for individual ships and ship weapons. And none of that's been touched on yet. But players don't care, because they're in the PU or in AC and they're playing, and all they see are Hornets. And it doesn't help that the Hornet is locked behind the pledge store, so it's, arguably quote-unquote pay to win. So players see that.
Arguably, quote-unquote, it is pay to win. They do this all the time. They new ship. How long has this guy been playing? Doesn't remember the Ares Ion and the Inferno. Those two things were snipers in space. And you would just get one shot by that ship, and then they just nerfed it. Of course, it's about selling that thing at that time, and then they kill it, and then you get angry. I bought the sniper rifle ship, and now it doesn't even work. Well, yeah, they do this all the time. Haven't you realized that already?
And they go, well, this is the result of master modes. Master modes has done this. No, it's the balance. But before master modes, we really didn't see a variety of ships, and arguably we see more ships now, even with the Hornet being overpowered. Before we ever saw the Gladius, the Arrow, we saw the bugged Hornet Mark 1, maybe something else, I don't know, I doubt it, but we basically saw the same 3 ships. Now if you go into AC, you can see people competing with the Hornet, the Hawk, the Arrow, the Gladius. They're not as good as the Hornet Mark 2.
Yeah, it all sucks.
But you do see a lot more variety. You also see the bigger ships. So Master Modes has succeeded on the front of making more ships viable.
Is he stupid or... No, everything is just as terrible except for a couple of... except if you go and buy the latest ship. No, I don't know. It's really hard to tell if he really thinks this or he's actually just shilling, which is very common these days. It ruined the variety of ships. It didn't make them... Just because you see something in Arena fucking Commander does not mean that it's better for the different kind of ships that you have in the PU. Anyway, I think this is pointless. I think he's so off base, and I don't know if it's him being this way. Again, nothing against the guy. Barely saw one video of his before this one, and now I have this one that popped up, and I just clicked on it, kind of regretting it right now. But I don't know if he's shilling or he is really a little bit of a psychopath, especially the pancaking of opinion there. So people are angry because of rightful reasons, or they're all salty crier nerds, as he says. And he then agrees with this salty cries. Anyway, that guys, that's the way in which we are. But you know what? Thanks to people like our good old friend here, Buzzcut Psycho. Now we have more of this shit. And let's see if Buzzcut Psycho also likes the new realistic changes of inventory, in which you have to click on the ATM inventory system and then select a gun and then ask for that gun to be delivered, and then you have that gun that's going to be delivered into a little box, and then you open the box. I can literally pick up the real gun that I have there in less than a second. Just do it like this. But no, in my fucking video game I have to go through 6 or 7 different clicks, and what is it? 1 minute? 5 minutes? Oh no, it's a lot shorter than that. Really, is it? That's only when you're right next to the ATM thing. If you're out in space, if you're just outside the station, just clicking on the inventory, this makes perfect sense. This is how all games ever have always been. You're close enough to the city or the location, you access the inventory. Yes, you don't have to actually drag your sorry ass to the box where you store the gun and pick it up and then load each round and then holster it and then make sure you have the belt. No, that is the tiresome, boring stuff that you don't want to bring from the real world into a video game. That's what most reasonable people understand. That's what most people that are legit game developers not only understand, they know very well. You don't have to explain these things. But in the case of CIG, every fucking thing they see that they can turn into a time sink, they will do. And it's getting ridiculous at this point. But let's see if Buzzcut Psycho also enjoys walking to item ATMs and waiting for magic bullshit to happen only when you click it there. Guys, see you in the next video. Take care.